hearing revolution in the air. Tell me, brother, talk to me, sister. I think I'm hearing revolution in the air. Tell me, brother, talk to me, sister.
It is time for us to use our power. Please do not beg folks for power. Nobody is going to give it to you. You were born with power.
Some very sad news for all of you and people who love peace all over the world. Martin Luther King was shot and was killed tonight in Memphis.
I will never say that progress is being made. If you stick a knife in my back 9 inches and pull it out 6 inches, there's no progress. You pull it all the way out, that's not progress. The progress is healing the wound that the blow made.
I think I'm hearing revolution in the air. Tell me, brother, talk to me, sister.
But the hard truth is that not everyone is sharing in this city's splendor and glory. There are more poor than ever, more families in trouble, more and more people who need help but can't find it.
A struggle against the common enemies of man, tyranny, poverty, disease, and war itself.
We believe that all men are created equal, yet many are denied equal treatment.
And we are brothers and sisters in a long struggle.
Black, white,
White folk rule us with fear. It is not white people, it's your fear of them that you gotta be freed from. You are a slave, a dressed up Brooks Brothers alligator shoe wearing, diamond ring wearing slave.
I think I'm hearing revolution in the air. I think I'm hearing revolution in the air. Tell me, brother, talk to me, sister. I think I'm hearing revolution in the air. Tell me, brother, talk to me, sister.
It is time for us to use our power. Please do not beg folks for power. Nobody is going to give it to you. You were born with power.
Some very sad news for all of you and people who love peace all over the world. Martin Luther King was shot and was killed tonight in Memphis.
Revolution. Revolution. Revolution.
I will never say that progress is being made. If you stick a knife in my back 9 inches and pull it out 6 inches, there's no progress. You pull it all the way out, that's not progress. The progress is healing the wound that the blow made.
Healing the wound. Healing the wound. Healing the wound that the blow made. I said healing the wound that the blow made. Good evening, good evening, good evening on this special edition of Town Hall Community Radio. I'm your host, Prince Carter. I had to go live tonight. I wanted to get some stuff off of my chest. I had a very disturbing phone call today. And I want to talk about that phone call that I had today. I want to talk about that phone call that I had today. And I'm going to ask everyone within the sound of my voice, if you have a relationship with the greater being, I need you to tune in and and see if we can get some prayer warriors. I'm in need of prayer, and I need some folk that know how to pray, that aren't afraid to pray, to pray on this situation for me, and to help me pray on this situation as it relates to what I am now being told by elected officials that represent me. Okay, about representation. I was talking to Alderwoman Sharon Ties. She finally called me back today, y'all. She finally called me back and to pray on this situation for me. I just I'm asking folks to join me in prayer today because I got a call from my alderwoman, and I gotta tell you exactly what she said, and you'll understand why I'm saying that we need to pray on this situation. As many of you all know, for the last couple of years, I've been seeking and attempting to get these funds that were provided by the federal government for small black businesses in my community. I'm in the city of St. Louis, Missouri. And if it's anybody in the world that has a relationship, I don't care what city or state you're in, I'm asking you to call in and pray with me right now. If you're not afraid to pray, if you don't have a problem with prayer, I'm seeking your assistance in praying for this situation. As I told you all, I've been trying to get these funds that the federal government sent post-COVID to aid and assist small black businesses such as myself and others in my community. I got a call from my alderwoman, and some cities they call them the council people. In the city of St. Louis, they're referred to as alderpersons. And this alderwoman, Sharon Ties, called me today and attempted to blow smoke up my backside. And she has never really and truthfully been totally honest with me about anything as relates to supporting me. She initially told me that she was in support of me and that she was supporting me. Well, lo and behold, today she has gotten wind that I have proceeded without her to make this a reality as it relates to the expansion of my barbecue business. This alderwoman has told me out of her own mouth that me expanding my business onto a vacant lot that's been vacant for 20 years on Union Boulevard in St. Louis, Missouri, is not in the interest of the community. She, as the alderperson, is going to do what she can to block and stop me from expanding onto a vacant lot that has been vacant for well over 20 years. I have spoken with other organizations in the community as well as the people that actually live in the community, and they all embrace me and support me. Then why is it that this one black female elected official is not supporting Prince Carter and the expansion of his business onto a vacant lot that's been vacant for over 20 years? What type of representation is that? What type of elected official would do such a thing, would believe in such a thing? I just, for the life and the love of God, I don't understand how is it that a person can claim to be for the interest of a people in a community, but you don't support black businesses expanding onto a vacant lot that's been vacant for well over 20 years. And I just don't get it. I asked her, and she got upset and hung up because I asked her, what's the problem with me expanding onto this vacant lot? Why wouldn't she support that? And her response is, that's not what she wants for the ward. That's not in the interest of the black community. So, in other words, this little poor black man selling barbecue on Union Boulevard is a problem of the black community. And I can't believe that I'm gonna try to call her back because she hung up on me earlier.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system. Sharon.
Okay, she's not answering.
Is not available. At the tone, please record your message. When you've finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options. To leave a callback number, press 5.
Alderwoman Tyus, this is Prince Carter. I'd appreciate it if you would return my phone call. And the earlier conversation we had, and for you to just hang up, was very unprofessional, and it was unwarranted. We were having a discussion about why you feel I shouldn't expand my business onto a vacant lot, and rather than answer the question, you hung up on me. And I not only have a business in the ward, but I actually live in the ward. And as an elected official, it's very unprofessional and it's conduct unbecoming of you to hang up on a constituent. Okay, I had to get that off my chest. She had the medicated galls to actually hang up on me, and I that didn't sit well with me at all. But to tell me that you're not going to support that is sad, folks. And I'm asking my prayer warriors. I'm gonna get me some prayer warriors out here to, in fact, pray over this situation and see what we can do. Because I'm gonna tell you something. I don't care what nobody say. Prayer changes things. I'm a firm believer in that. I'm a firm believer that prayer changes things. And for this sister to come sideways like she did, it's horrible. It's horrible, people. And I'm going to make sure that I do all that I can to continue to encourage folks to pray for this lady. I don't think that we should allow folks to just be getting off like that. I live in the ward. I have a business in the ward. And for you, an elected official, to just blatantly tell me you're not going to support me expanding my business onto a vacant lot, and then turn around and hang up on me.
Please leave your message for 90172457775.
Hey, Rev, how you doing? Okay, I'm trying to call you now. Just hang up. I'm going to call you back. We're going to be live on the air when I call you back. And we're going to pray on this. We're going to pray. I'm going to put the Rev on her, and we're going to put Jesus on her. And I'm telling you, folks, this is, I am a true child of God. And no weapon formed against me shall prosper, elected officials or not. So I'm going to reach out to the Rev, and we're going to pray on Sharon Tyus, and we're going to pray.
Good evening.
Good evening, Reverend. How you doing this evening?
I'm doing well.
Listen, Rev, I hate to bother you. I know you're off today and everything, but I had a very disturbing phone call from an elected official earlier today. As you very well know, I've been doing all that I can to seek these funds that were provided by the federal government, and in the effort to expand my business. And the alderwoman that represents my community and my ward told me today that she will not support, even though I've gotten support from the people that live in the area, I've gotten support from neighborhood organizations, but for this black elected official who, in my opinion, has no legitimate or valid reason for not supporting a small black business to expand. Now, if the barbecue business is hindering the community, is it a problem to the black community, is it a problem to the neighborhood, then say that. But just don't tell me that because you don't want this that you're not going to support it. And I don't think that's the way elected officials should operate. So
neither do I. They are for the elected officials are for the people because they're elected for the people or by the people.
But Rev, I believe that prayer has the power to change things. And I'm asking you and any and everybody that believes in the power of prayer to help and pray with me right now on this situation, that God touches her and removes her spiritual blinders and allow her to understand that King Prince Barbecue is not the problem in the black community. That expanding onto a vacant lot will not hurt the black community. It would be in the best interest of the black community to see a beacon of hope and a beacon of inspiration, and a small business that started from nothing can, by the grace of God, manifest into a expansion in a criminal.
And to the neighborhood, it provides a decent service. He loves people. He gives to the homeless. And Lord, we ask that you take the heart of stone away from this young lady who is trying to stop the work of this good man and trying to build his barbecue business up and expand it in the name of Jesus. We pray, O Lord, that we'll take away that heart of stone and replace it with a heart of flesh. We pray for all of those who are against him to expand this business, Lord. We know that you can do anything but fail, and we know that prayer changes things. We thank you tonight, Lord, for those patrons who are supporting his business, those who are supporting him, Lord. And we pray, Lord, that you will give him what he's standing in the need of. We know you can, and we know you will. You can do anything but fail. And we ask that we touch the hearts of the officials who knows that this man is standing for right and who is giving a great service to the community, to the west side of St. Louis, Lord. We pray that you will help him, Lord, and we pray that they will help him expand his business right now. In the mighty name of Jesus, we pray. Amen. Thank God. Let it be. And so it is.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Rev. Thank you, Rev. I just, I don't believe in attacking people and going after and tit for tat anymore. I turn to prayer, and I believe in my heart that it is through my faith and my prayers that has gotten me thus far. And I will continue to stand on my faith. I will continue to stand on God's word and to block and stop it. And I just think that her reaching out and writing letters to the St. Louis Development Corporation is not going to be of any value or substance. And I pray that she has a change of heart and backs down. And if you're not going to help me, just leave me alone. That's what I also tell folks, real.
If you can't help me, don't try to stop me. Don't try to block me. I got a race to run.
Yes,
and I'm running it by faith and at the finishing line and go see God's face. And God's going to work it out for you. I believe it. I decree it. I declare it in the name of Jesus that it will be so.
Amen.
Just keep your hand in God's hand and continue to trust him, and he'll work it out.
I want to thank Reb for those words of encouragement and those prayers. And excuse me. This is Town Hall Community Radio on a Saturday morning. This is Prince Carter, and we're taking your calls at 314-732-1212. 314-732-1212. Good morning, Mark Kaysen.
That is a good phone number, you know that?
Oh, it's easy to remember for me. I tell you.
No, it's great.
Mark, I wanted to get you on here this morning. You're not aware of the latest and the greatest as it relates to these sagas and seeking these American Rescue Plan funds. And another hurdle, just a little small hump that I've run into, very disappointing, I might add, is that my current alderwoman, who I'm not only a business owner in the ward, but about the Trump Tower thing. But for her,
no, I'm just saying you don't know, and I'd like to know.
But
what plan?
Let me ask you this.
That lot.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Do you think it's right for a constituent and a business owner to be engaged into a conversation with an elected official? And the question that you raised to this elected official gets her so hot and warm she has to raise her voice and hang up the phone? Is that how an elected official is supposed to do?
I don't know what you said to her.
I asked her to explain to me why she does not support me expanding my business at the current location onto a vacant lot. And she flews off the handle and states that she supports me moving on Martin Luther King with Miss Robbie and just giving up my current location and not expanding it. And I want to know why.
Wait a second. Maybe she may have a really good idea and reason.
But she should have been woman enough to explain it to me.
Well, okay, but listen, I don't know how you asked the question.
Just like I'm talking to you. There's only one way to ask the question, Mark. It's not 1,000 ways to ask a simple question.
Well, there are ways and there are ways. I just don't know. I mean, I'm not saying I know. Look, she said she wants you to expand your business.
Raise her voice as if I was her child or her husband and was out of line in the first place. I didn't appreciate that, and I let it be known, because if I'm talking to you in a respectful manner, I expect the same in return, Mark Kaysen.
Sure.
You know, and for her to fly off the handle like she did about this matter is beyond my comprehension. And but this is not the first time that she's tried to stop and block my business, and it happened about 10 years ago when I was down on the other end. She tried to block me from opening at that location, and there was overwhelming support from the community, and folks came from near and far, and she ducked her tail and ran then 10 years ago, because the hearing board or whatever it is that we were before looked around for her, because they saw her there too, and they're like, where's the alderwoman? You know, we want to hear from her. And she fled the scene. And that's on record.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I just don't know.
But Mark, you did something last week that I'm concerned about as well. You last time I talked to you on this platform, you said you was going to go find out why the money was being set on.
I found out.
Okay, but here's the deal. But stop, Mark. Don't do that to me now. Don't do that to me. Before you go any further, what you did was misleading, first and foremost, and it was not proper representation. You went to Kansas City and found an elected official in Kansas City to talk to, not anyone local. It was not proper representation. Ask the questions.
Go ahead.
All right. Who is this older person that's coming on to speak with you this week?
Well, I'll tell you.
Just say it, Mark.
Put it out there, and
you can't put it out there. So it's a secret thing. See, white folks got all kind of privileges. You white people have all the privileges in the world. I can't get I can't get a one elected official to come on and talk to me, but you can find one. I'm jealous, Mark.
Oh, I've got 5 that'll come on with me,
and I can't get one. The white man can get 5, and the black man can't get one.
Here's the funny thing. I don't have any white ones who will come on, but I got black ones who will.
Wow. Well, this whole thing about this money, Mark, and I don't know if you probably haven't had the time to look into it, but this was emergency money sent by the federal government in the midst of a crisis. You do know that.
Can I tell you the answer again?
Tell me the answer.
Thank you. So first of all, as you know, I've been told that if the city has less than $500,000, that the money goes through the state, and it gets very difficult. However, it's worse than that. Every business person that I've talked to that got the money, and I got the money. I got free money from the government. And I can tell you right now, only reason I got it was because my accountant filled out the paperwork. And it's when they don't have an account. No, I had an accountant.
Poor black folks don't have
any.
Poor black people don't have an accountant.
Poor ones, listen, any kind of poor people don't have an accountant.
Mm-hmm.
That's correct.
Well, Mark, the federal government, to my understanding, never intended for folks that need or require an accountant. The purpose of sending the money.
No. Listen. You're correct. They gave me a form, and I didn't know how to fill it out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they said to me, "Oh, it's an easy form." No, Prince, it wasn't an easy form.
Mm-hmm.
I've got more graduate education than you could even imagine, because you couldn't even count that high. And I'm telling you, I couldn't figure it out.
Mark Casey, how high do you know that I can count?
Well, if you count to 1,000,000, you still won't be high enough.
So you got over
the graduation to count the graduation credits that I have. Wait, let me say something else.
Mark Casey, you don't really believe that you have 1,000,000 credits and education.
Okay, I'm just playing with you, but I'm saying this. I agree with you. You're exactly right. The money should be more accessible, but it Black Caucus.
Mm-hmm.
And they, for my first show, offered me this wonderful lady, state representative from Kansas City, who happened to be at the parade during the shooting.
Mm-hmm.
So I had that opportunity, so I did it. Let me mention this too, because I got to run.
You always got to run, but go ahead.
Okay. So first of all, I hope you'll come on the air with me next week a little bit.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All you got to do is just let me know when. Let me know.
Okay, wait. Do you have a computer?
Absolutely. Believe it or not, I have 2.
Well, that's great. So what I'm going to do, you're going to send me your email address.
Okay.
And I'm going to send you the link so you can hook right into my show on Zoom, and you'll look just like when you're on a network television show.
Well, let me ask you this. Can you somehow or another arrange to set this up when you have one of these black elected officials that you're speaking with?
And so I'm going to give you my link, and I'm going to tell my producer, anytime you see Prince Carter coming in through that link, he doesn't have to be booked. Just let him in.
Okay. Now, Mark, are you making me jealous again?
No, wait. It's again called Showdown, so that's the name. And you'll see it. I mean, when you get off here, you can go see the website. Now, the website isn't completely revised yet, but it'll be done by Monday.
It's work in progress.
You can check it. But you can see it right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you. And in fact, if you want to see any of the shows from this week, you can go to my Facebook page, which is Something's Happening. Go to Something's Happening. You can see the shows.
Mm-hmm.
But now, let me say this to you, and I because I know you wouldn't know this. this is crazy. I had a guy who was going to be my, quote, co-host.
Mm-hmm.
And he was referred to me by Anthony Shahid. The guy's a nice guy. I mean, from the very first, I liked him a lot. Only problem is, I had Jamila on the air on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy, and if you go to Facebook, and you can watch it,
mm-hmm.
he went crazy calling Jamila every kind of name you can imagine. And when I tell you what he was calling her, I can't even say it. But I can tell you that one of the words was MF, and it got worse.
Let known publicly. And I you know, one of the things that I'm going to be asking my older woman for is an apology, because I've been nothing but respectful toward her, and my demeanor has always been the same. I don't go around looking for fights with people. I'm not a bully, and I treat people the way that I want to be treated. And I'm going to continue to do that. But for her to raise or extend her voice as if she was talking to her child or her husband was out of pocket and totally disrespectful. And whether she's a woman enough to do it or not, I don't know. But she owes me an apology, because I don't know. Maybe
I will say this.
Okay.
Calling somebody a bully is nothing. That is fair game.
I'm not calling her a bully. I'm saying her actions and her behavior point toward the direction of her being a bully. She has bully tendencies and bully behaviors. And when she doesn't have her way, she gets, oh my God, she flipped the script on me. And I wasn't looking for that.
And I'm just saying, in politics and in radio or TV or whatever you want to call it, it's fair to say, you know, certain things like what you just said is completely acceptable.
Right.
True or not true, it doesn't matter. The point is, this is political discussion. Back.
Oh my God!
I would accept it.
Now, see, that's who I would
accept any behavior.
I wish he was around for this thing that I experienced with Sharon Taft. He could write a poem about it. You know, he was a poet.
Oh, he was such a good guy.
Yeah, I miss my friend. I miss Mark. Thank you so much.
We all miss him.
Thank you so much for hopping on this morning. We appreciate you so much.
Hey,
continue to listen. Continue to call, and let me know when you talk to some of them black folks that can tell you about that money.
And send me your email address.
Consider it done. All right.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks a lot. That's my good buddy there, Mark Cation. We got a wide open line for the first time. 314-732-1212. That's 314-732-1212. This is Prince Carter, Town Hall Community Radio. We're asking folks to find a way to find it in their heart to sign the petition to have these funds released. A lot of folks still don't believe or know that money was sent in the interest of poor black folks in North St. Louis City post-COVID. And those that are elected to represent us got the money, didn't tell us what the money was for, and have been creating obstacles and hurdles to prevent poor folks from getting emergency funds. That's here in the city of St. Louis. This is the black history that our elected officials are creating for themselves as we speak. I don't think that it's fair to say poor, because they really, really, really don't want to help poor black folks. That's the only thing I can figure out. If you can think of something different, the number is 314-732-1212. I don't have all the answers. I don't know everything. I encourage folks to correct me whenever and if ever I'm wrong on anything. So, again, how is it that you can have these monies for poor black folks and not want to give it to them? That's despicable, people. It's despicable. And I'm not going to let them get away with it. I'm not going to sit idly by and be silent about it, because a silent mouth never gets fed, okay? A silent mouth never gets fed. And you can disagree with that if you choose to, but it's a fact. And this is Prince Carter, and this is Town Hall Community Radio.
White folk rule us with fear. It is not white people, it's your fear of them that you gotta be freed from.
I think I'm hearing revolution in the air. I think I'm hearing revolution in the air. Tell me, brother, talk to me, sister. I think I'm hearing revolution in the air. Tell me, brother, talk to me, sister.
It is time for us to use our power. Please do not beg folks for power. Nobody is going to give it to you.
But the hard truth is that not everyone is sharing in this city's splendor and glory. There are more poor than ever, more families in trouble, more and more people who need help but can't find it.
A struggle against the common enemies of man, tyranny, poverty, disease, and war itself.
We believe that all men are created equal, yet many are denied equal treatment.
And so we say to all in this nation who dare listen to us, black, white, Jew, Gentile, Asian, Latino, that we are brothers and sisters in a long and difficult struggle.
Tell me, brother, talk to me, sister. I just got to figure out, we got a whole lot of stuff going on here, and we're going to be all right, though, folks. We're going to be all right. It's a Sunday morning. I missed a call. I don't know who that was. You can call back. We'll get you on the air. Somebody was asking about the petition, and you can pick up the petition at King Prince Barbecue if you want to help collect some signatures or wants to expand onto one of these vacant lots. It's a problem, but any other nationality from any other community can come into our community and do whatever they so please. Because they have the funding to put into these people's pockets and to donate to their campaigns and what have you. And when you're a poor black man and you don't have the money to donate to their campaigns, or you don't have the money to help pay for their yard signs, then you have all the problems in the world. And I think it's time out for that. I'm hoping and I'm praying that I live to see the day that elected officials don't behave in that manner. I was under the impression that the elected officials were supposed to be about helping the people and trying to assist in getting resources and things of that nature to the people. That is not the case in my area, in my community, and I'm just really I'm not surprised. I just wish that they would be a little bit more honest. More so than what they are. So I'm just, I'm appalled that I'm even in this situation. However, I'm standing on my faith in God's word, and I do believe that, in fact, that we will overcome these unnecessary hurdles and obstacles. I don't get it. I got a call coming in. Let me see if I can raise this caller up. I don't know what's going on. I'm being told by this elected official that I can't expand my business onto a vacant lot that's been vacant probably well over 20 years. And the lot is owned by LRA. It's not any personal body's lot. The LRA is been instructed to try to get out of the land banking business. they oftentimes don't have the manpower or the willingness to cut the grass on these vacant lots and so on and so forth. So somebody came up with a great idea, and I think it's a great idea, that if an existing business is operating close to these vacant lots, they can expand onto these lots and acquire those properties from the city at a very reasonable price, so that the city can get out of owning that lot as well as having to cut the grass.
That might be true, Prince, but you have to look at the color chart.
Mm-hmm.
You're not on the color chart.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, because you can see, like you said, other nationalities, other types of people with skin color
can come into our community.
They can come into our community with money.
Mm-hmm.
With money.
Mm-hmm.
And do what they please. They can acquire these things.
Mm-hmm. But
they can do that.
But Adrian, let me interrupt you here for a second. And you're a business owner in the community as well. How would you feel if you got a phone call from an elected official, and this elected official is talking to you about this, that, and the third, and everything that don't pertain to you or matter to you? You've been waiting on this person to call you back forever and a day, and rather than sit here and listen to all that, because I'm at work first and foremost, I don't have time to hear all that gossip. But when I raise a legitimate question as to questioning you, why I finally got you, where do you stand on me expanding onto this vacant lot? And then this elected official begins to, first and foremost, raise their voice as if you're a child or somebody, and then hangs up on you. Is that the way elected officials are supposed to treat their business owners and their constituents in their community?
They're not supposed to react to anyone like that, whether you're a business owner or a landowner,
mm-hmm.
or a tenant. They're not supposed to, because they work for you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and as I stated, they do.
Mm-hmm.
They work for the people of St. Louis. And as I stated before, you have people in there that you need to get out. You
mm-hmm.
need to either impeach or you need to not vote for them anymore. And the city has been ran down for
decades.
I don't know how
decades,
many years.
Decades and decades.
Yes. And so why are we electing officials that, now when Bosnia was that, now no line, it's just, they're out not for us.
Mm-hmm.
And they should be for us. Not they're for the city, but they're not working for us, and that's who they should be working for. Listening to our concern. Look at these vacant. Yeah, if you want to buy a building and you could afford to get it torn down, they should allow you to do that.
Well, there is. I was reading somewhere. I forget where it was. They were talking about how folks were saying that the city of St. Louis were going to have to stop tearing down these buildings and try to save them, because they're considered historical buildings, brick buildings, and they want folks to preserve these buildings. I just found out recently that the federal government is offering up to, I think it's $16,000 annually or biannually for people with historical homes to aid and assist in preserving those historical homes.
Okay, that might be true, but how much paperwork comes behind that?
Well, it's going to be paperwork whatever you do.
No, I'm just saying those situations are not for people. Say you have a home and it's historical. That situation is not for you. It's for the white folks to come through, or the other people of color to come through, buy these buildings and restore them.
Mm-hmm.
They're not for you. Money is not for you. It's supposed they're coming through, and they're coming through. The NGA is coming through, and they're going to buy that building. They're going to get federally funded for fixing it up, and they're gonna start a new community down there.
Adrian, let me ask you a question, if I may. There's a lot of hype and talk about bringing back red light cameras, which I was under the impression was deemed unconstitutional. How they're going to bring them back, I don't know. But if you had a choice to choose between red light cameras versus actual physical police pulling cars over and issuing tickets and demanding proof of insurance and things of that nature, would you rather have the police officer pulling over cars, or would you rather have the red light cameras?
Neither one. I'm just sorry, Prince. Neither one.
Well. So what you're saying then is that we should continue to allow people to just run red lights, stop signs, weaving in and out of traffic, riding amok. You rather have it like that?
No, I don't want it like that. But
something's got to be done, then, Adrian.
Right, something has to be done.
So what would you do? What do you think needs to be done?
I know what's going on, but you do need the police officers there. But when the police officer stops a young guy or an older guy, it's going to end up in a shooting.
Not
Most
necessarily.
Or it's going to end up in a chase. It's going to end up in a chase where more people get killed. Yes, it is. Right, that's what I'm saying. So if they already know what's going on, and they have key, the thing is, the prison system is political. It's you could buy into the political system. We
have a government.
I'm sorry about that.
Stock market.
Mm-hmm.
It's a slave thing. So the more they catch people and put them in jail and make them work slavery is not over. And if they can't lock you up, they're going to shoot you and kill you. They got the same thing going on in other neighborhoods, not just like black ones. They got them in white ones. All of this stems from programming, from the government programming. These kids and these people are programmed.
Mm-hmm.
And they think they can race the Broadway. It's like a...
Well, I attribute it to and I call them insinuators, the gaming systems that these children were raised up playing.
Right.
And a lot of them, they drive on this Nintendo or whatever, the PS5 or whatever, and when they get up in age in real life, they think they can drive in the real world because they've been doing it so good on their gaming thing, that simulator. They think they can do it somewhere else.
You hit it on the nose, and that is called programming.
Right. Adrian, thank you so much for your call this morning. I got to run. I got another caller coming in, and we got to take this other call. Continue to listen. Continue to call. Caller, are you there?
I am here.
That's just how important that job is to me.
And I concur with you on the importance of it.
It's a huge job. It's very important.
It is very important. I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. Mm-hmm. Give them a sense of pride to make it easier. Let the children's laughter remind us how we used to play.
Go on, Mr. Whitney Houston. I hear you.
But now they cannot play anymore. They don't have the ability to play or to articulate their creativity.
Most of them just want to stay in the house and play the game.
Yeah, but some of the problems is with the educational system is still on an agrarian type of way when we used to pick cotton and grow food, and we're not at that level now. So it needs to be changed so we can bring out the gifts that are in the children themselves.
When you say change, what do you mean by change?
What I mean by change is the agrarian way that they teach. It's more to a way of answer test. That's really not bringing out the best in our children by testing them, because it's not always everybody's going to do well on tests, but they're able to perform the job. Because they're gifted. You have to allow.
Okay, Rep. we were not allowed to be in the same room where grown folks were talking as a child. We were kept away from that. We had to either go outside or play or go to our room, but we couldn't sit in the same room where grown folks were talking. That just wasn't tolerated or accepted. Now, some of these young parents are saying and doing every and anything in front of these children, which, in my opinion, traumatizes them. So, how do you fix that? How do you deal with that?
I guess that's to a certain extent, but at the same time, at the level in which knowledge is being distributed through social media, through the ear gates, the eye gates, and various other things, if you don't teach your kids, somebody else gonna teach them. Mm-hmm. The other things that we were sheltered.
They're gonna learn. They're gonna learn the right way or the wrong way.
Right. So you want to let them find out the right way, but I think what some of it is we're not allowing them to really, like, you got a gift, I got a gift. And most of us, when we see school, at one particular time, school was only the educated became teachers. Those who were rich and wealthy, they became teachers to give back to society. Mm-hmm. Or they had a gift to teach. See what I'm talking about, that gift? So they were gifted to teach. No, I'm not saying. Okay, I'm saying they should be compensated.
Okay, but not just doing it for the money, Bishop. Hold up. Let me share this with you. I believe that they're not necessarily just doing it for the money, but I think that they need to be properly compensated for going to college, getting all that, running up that debt to become a teacher, and then for them to be able to be comfortable. And I look back at my Jefferson Elementary School, 1301 Hogan. Those teachers back then made peanuts and crumbs, and oftentimes would sacrifice their own money to get supplies and things that were needed that were not provided by the board. And I think in 2024, teachers should not have to do that. I think teachers should have a invoice, and they should be able to write down any and every resource that they need to educate those children and have it provided by the board.
And I agree. I agree with you on that, Prince.
And teachers should not be struggling. They should not be struggling to pay their bills. They shouldn't be struggling to make it through life. They shouldn't be struggling to pay back loans. They should be compensated properly for the huge job and the huge responsibility that they have before them. I think that they have lives in their hands. They really have lives in their hands when you're dealing with these young people.
And I believe that if you really believe that, then you wouldn't have a problem with paying, because those are your babies. But the point is, they don't have to worry about paying back money because they are dedicated to come to that profession. It should be a tougher vetting to become a teacher. You just don't become a teacher because it's easy. You think it's an easy job to do. You become a teacher because you are gifted, and that is your calling to do. They were called to be teachers, and that's my point.
And my point is they should be well compensated for that. And I think that
I agree.
We so as a society,
pay off their school bill,
as you should.
If you pay off, make their schooling free. Their education is free.
Exactly.
Right. They ain't got to worry about that.
But
so that's my whole point.
After teaching, when they get off from work, they should have the luxury of having enough pay in their paycheck to live a comfortable life, to live a life that is fit for a queen or a king, for lack of better words, because when you take individuals that really care about children and really want to educate and teach them, they really do a good job. The problem we have in today's society is that we have so many uncouth, or should I say too many uncouth parents that want to go to school and raise hell with teachers because of the neglect they as parents have portrayed into these children, and get mad with the teacher for holding their child accountable for misbehaving should be deemed unacceptable, and there should be a zero tolerance for this type of behavior.
It is unacceptable, but what the issue is, that there are unresolved issues in their life that was never met. And if you check the record on all of those who have done things like that, they have a history of being a bad student itself.
Mm-hmm. And some of this has to do with mental illness, too, because some of these folk, let me tell you, Bishop, I see them every day. Some of these people have not been certified or classified as mentally ill, but they are. They maybe just haven't been to a doctor, haven't seen a psychiatrist, haven't seen anyone to can say, you know what, you got some red flags and red lights that are popping off here that need to be looked at. But
they seen you are their therapist. You know,
one of the things that I think that as a society and as a whole we are overlooking and failing to look into, and that is the number of people that still can't read. And this is the residual effects from slavery. I'm not trying to make excuses, but if you come from a family of non-readers, chances are, sometimes you're not going to be able to read as well. I tell folk all the time, if you go to all these restaurants and stuff and you see the menu boards and you see a number 1, a number 2, they didn't put that up there because they wanted you to see how many items they had. They put that up there so that people that couldn't read could look at the picture and say, that's the online. So the way the thing works online, you have to go in and you have to check off what you want. You got to check off what you want. Well, the problem is she wanted a rib tip sandwich, but on the app, she put rib sandwich. So when we see rib sandwich, we give her a rib sandwich. She called and upset and said we gave her the wrong thing because she got a rib sandwich, but she wanted a rib tip sandwich. Well, it's not my fault that this person can't properly read. But, you know, I just use it as an example to show you that here in 2024, there's still a residual effect from slavery of people being unable and not knowing how to read. And some of these people have children. So if you can't read and now you have reproduced, what happens then?
Well, once again, that's where that teacher come in at. And I don't mean to be putting all the pressure on her. If you dedicated, you see there's a certain personality when you can't read. That's a lack of what some older people would say, but they don't even have mother with sense. Because a lot of them couldn't read, but you wouldn't have known they couldn't read.
I knew people that couldn't read, but made sure that their children learned how to read. You understand what I'm saying? So, each individual, each home, each household has different scenarios, different vices, different obstacles, and it was like a little outing and field trip for us. We loved it, and we would go to the library sometimes and watch a movie, and then we would check out a book, and we would have to read that book and write a report on that book. Those things have, to my understanding, have not been going on in schools today. A lot of this stuff has to do with the tablets and the computers that the children have access to. So oftentimes they don't have to necessarily go to the library because they can pull a lot, if they know how, they can pull and retrieve a lot of this information off the internet.
Of course, but they can also learn how to read too.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Some of them. Some folk need help, some folk don't.
Right.
You know?
Right, unless they have a learning disability, of course, then they need to be in special school. But there are a lot of people, they get out of high school, but they went to school because that was what was expected of them. But then after school, they have a gift or a passion for something else. And then some of these high schools, like for instance, I'm going to bring up O'Fallon Tech, and you know where I'm going with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of course. So if you would have started them off at 9th grade and found out what their passion was and allowed them to work at that, by the time they get out of high school, they can go right into their trade.
they're going to have to
that they
move some of
have.
this stuff to an elementary school level, Bishop. I think they need to start a little bit earlier.
Junior high.
I think children should have to go to school all year round. Problematic for them to do that.
Well, in cases like that, they just talk to the teacher and they get that taken care of.
Hey,
Everybody
Bishop, I got a question for you. Do you know of any families that still on a regular basis sit down and eat dinner at the table together?
Far and in between.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know,
I think I think that the Jewish families and those of ethnic groups do it more than anybody.
Mm-hmm. I would like to hear from some folks out there this morning that still engage in that type of behavior.
But
sitting
that's
down.
interesting you brought that up. You know, I'm finna take you up on my chart now.
Okay.
Because you did that. Because that's where most of the issues was worked out in day-to-day life by eating at the table.
At the dinner table. We had conversations.
Correct.
We had conversations that talked
You
about.
You don't have conversations now because people run it. You got your joker in there eating in his room, and he plotting to kill mama and daddy for the insurance money.
Mm-hmm. Well, and not only that, not only that.
Now that's probably taking it a little far, but that's it. What it does is desensitize the family of having their function. Of having.
Well, and you know, a lot of these kids, they don't want to get off the games to come and eat. They'll eat later, and so I think we have gotten away from too many theories when you allow children to sit around grown folks and engage in grown folks' conversation. That's part of the problem. That's part of the reason so many children are disrespectful. If you got a child that has a parent that's going to a school and want to beat up the teacher and cuss out the principal and this, that, and the third, how can that child have any respect for the institution of learning, the institution of education, when they have a leadership, their parent, that is displaying that type of behavior?
Especially if they display negative behavior and they say, well, I can just get my mama to come up here. She going to take care of y'all.
Yeah, and that's what you don't want. That's what you don't want.
Well, that's what you're showing them. And after that, the teachers are going to get disgusted and administrators are going to want to expel the kid from school.
You know, I haven't heard of anyone talk about for years what was used to be known as the PTA, Parent Teachers Association. Do they even exist anymore? I don't know. I'm asking the question.
Yeah, they still exist.
Are they properly attended? Or are they properly supported? Where are the parents that really are serious about education? When you're talking about education, you're not. To me, education doesn't just mean school. It means preparing a child for life, regardless to how far they go in school, that they can fend for themselves and make it in this world that I refer to as a jungle. I think parents need to understand what rate do you want your child to learn this, that, or a third. And we have to also take under consideration that if the parents are not showing interest or concern in education, oftentimes the child will not excel very well.
I would concur with that. You have to go along with the child to show interest in them and let them know, even though they used to ask me, what you do at school today? You know, we didn't do that much, and blah, blah, blah. You ain't got no homework and various other things, but, you know.
You can ask a child something as simple as, what did you learn today? I mean, and have a conversation about what they learned. They should be, if they've been in school all day, they should be able to come and tell you something that they've learned that day. I mean, if you got a child that's going to school day in and day out, and every time you come home, they say, what you learned, and they say nothing, that should raise a red flag of concern as a parent.
There was on social media, it's on my page, where young men say, what are you teaching us in school today? Mm-hmm. You teaching us how to regurgitate back up test scores that we took to remember it, only to forget it after that? Do we use Pythagorean theorems at work? I used that the other day. He was joking though, and that's why I was getting to what I was saying about learning natural things that you can use. Like for instance, he was saying they didn't know how to balance a checkbook.
You know, Bishop, I don't know if I told you this or not, but I went to the St. Louis Public School Board meeting earlier this month, and
no, you didn't.
Yeah, I addressed the board.
I could imagine that.
Well, you know, something that's been really bothering me and troubling me is this Vashon High School situation. When I first came back to St. Louis in 2009, the new Vashon had already been built. And I rode by to see it, and I saw the school, and I saw this huge, great big old vacant lot that wasn't even leveled. They were calling it a practice field. Well, I said maybe they're just doing it in phases. They're gonna give them a nice track field, football stadium, baseball diamond, the whole 10 yards. But here it is, 15 years later.
10 years later.
It's been 15 years now, and they still haven't done these things. And my concern is, how is it that in this century that you can build a high school from the ground up for children and not include a track field, a soccer field, a football stadium, things that, in my opinion, help boost school spirits, school morale, and give children things to do after school. I think when you constantly taking things away from a child that allows them to be a child, it pushes them in a negative area. I don't know of any other nationality, any other race that would have tolerated. And the way it's set up now, when you go down and talk, they sit there, they listen to you, and none of them ever respond to the people that address the board. How they're able to get away with that, why would they even want to do that? I don't get it. But I'm going to go back next month to see if I can get the written response to my concern, and that is that they find a way to provide these children, if nothing else, a track field and a football field or a soccer field or something other than a unlevel field.
I would assume that they would do it for the concessions of it, that would repay the money back to the culprit.
Well,
that.
my concern is that it's the right thing to do, and no one builds a school for children today and don't include those things. I
agree. I agree with you.
No other community.
I'm agreeing with you. But what I'm saying is they're going to get their money back anyway if they put a concession out there, hot dogs, popcorn.
My question is, according to Floyd Aarons, the money was allocated and approved, and they had the money to build the stadium and all this stuff. Where did the money go? Nobody knows. What happened to the money?
And I was getting ready to raise that, but that's a good St. Louis question.
Mm-hmm. Maybe I don't know. Maybe they had to use it to build the auditorium, because they tell me that they built the school at first without even having an auditorium. They had to go back and add on an auditorium to the building. How can you build a high? Thanks so much for your call. Continue to listen. Continue to call. I got to run. The number is 314-732-1212. That's 314-732-1212. We got wide open lines right now. You can call in, talk about whatever you like. What's your take on the state of the black community? How do you feel about where we are as a people? How do you feel about where we are as a community? Are we doing the best that we can? Do you think we can do better? What do we need to do better? Those are some of the questions I like for callers to call in and express on this morning. What about these red light cameras? Are you for or against the red light cameras? I'm really strongly against red light cameras, and I tell you why. I feel that it's more effective. It's more important to have physical officers pulling over cars and not only issuing tickets, but making sure that those cars are properly insured. I think that when people are running stop signs and running red lights and weaving in and out of traffic, and they don't have insurance, there should be some accountability. and if nothing more than hold their vehicle until they can show proof of insurance. Those are some of the things that I think needs to be done, and I would like to see done. What's your take on it? How do you feel about it? What would you like to see added to our community? How can the community get better? How can the community be better? What can we do as a whole to improve the conditions of life as we know it today?
It is time for us to use our power. Please do not beg folks for power. Nobody is going to give it to you. You were born with power.
Some very sad news for all of you and people who love peace all over the world. Martin Luther King was shot and was killed tonight in Memphis.
I will never say that progress is being made. If you stick a knife in my back 9 inches and pull it out 6 inches, there's no progress. You pull it all the way out, that's not progress. The progress is healing the wound that the blow made.
I think I'm hearing revolution in the air. Tell me, brothers, talk to me, sisters.
But the hard truth is that not everyone is sharing in this city's splendor and glory. There are more poor than ever, more families in trouble, more and more people who need help but can't find it.
A struggle against the common enemies of man, tyranny, poverty, disease, and war itself.
We believe that all men are created equal, yet many are denied equal treatment.
I haven't heard from him. What is your take, St. Louis, on our condition? What is your take on where we are as a people? You know, coffee's good. I think that too often, as a people, as a community, we just, for lack of better words, start minding our own business too much. I think that we turn away from things that have a residual effect on us, whether we know it or not. And I feel that as a society, we're not doing the best that we can do. I think that we're not where we should be as a whole. I think we've been held down, knocked down, and pushed down so often. Some of us refuse to even try to get up. And I just, that's just my take on it. That don't make it right. I tell folk all the time that I don't have all the answers. I don't know everything. And I always welcome correction, because sometimes we forget to look at the whole picture. And oftentimes we miss out. When you get to a place to where you don't feel that you can be corrected or someone can help enhance you, I think you do yourself a great disservice. We so often are so quick to hop off into our feelings that we don't want constructive criticism. I know that it's going to have long-term effects on my health, but I am so addicted to sodas that I'm struggling. I'm trying to work on it. I've been doing this thing called a Crystal Light. Now, folk telling me now that ain't good for you. You don't need to be drinking that. So it's something wrong with all of us. Some folks have a vice of eating, and that's lately that's been one of my vices as well. And if I keep hanging around Wayne Moody, I'm going to be big as a house. Between Wayne and Craig, I can't stop eating, and it's not healthy. But I'm hoping that in the days to come, I can begin to start, exercising a little bit more, going out and taking walks in the park and what have you. We all need to exercise. I am very, very, very horrible in that area as it relates to exercising and eating better than what I have been eating. Like I said, there's something wrong with all of us. And folk walking around here and thinking there ain't nothing wrong with them. I pray for them too. And I want to look at this article that I don't know when this article was written. It's out of the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, and it's an article in this paper written by Antonio French, and it says, "Promises, promises, promises. Why has the St. Louis 37 money was for, including me?" And I saw the president say that it was, but you know, when you see things like this, oftentimes you think, oh, it's some more political BS, and you've been lied to so long and so often by politicians that I didn't really believe it was real. And what ended up happening was in June of 2001, Brother Bob Williams came to me and said the city was giving small businesses $5,000. I'm like, no way. And he said, yeah. He actually went and got me an application. The application wasn't long. It was like a 2-page application. And I said, well, I'm going to see what they talking about. And I filled it out and took it down. I didn't want them to say I mailed it. They didn't get it. So I hand-delivered it to the St. Louis Development Corporation. And I asked them how long was it going to take. And he said, I should have the money in 30 days. Well, that was June then. And I said, well, okay, come July, that $5,000 would be in the bank. And come July, the money wasn't there. So I started inquiring about it and looking into it. And I then began to connect the dots from the March 11th State of the Union address from President Joe Biden. When they talked about and what they made the big story out of that State of the Union on it for the interest, and still have not given it to the people. That money is for it was earmarked for the Hood Census Tract north of Delmar. Now they're telling me that some elected officials at City Hall are trying to make bones and figure out how to get the money to the south side, and it was actually dedicated and earmarked toward the north side. And initially, that's why they wasn't boning about it. But now that the money had been set on for so long and it has begun to accumulate interest, they feel that they are entitled to some of that in the south side. So that's some of the shenanigans that we're dealing with here in St. Louis, Missouri. I got some folks trying to find some other communities that actually did right by their people and got them the money. And we're still researching into that. But nonetheless, I think that for the most part, no one can dispute the fact that this is American Rescue Plan funds sent to our community out of the $1.9 trillion that was allocated for the American Rescue Plan. The problem is why this late in the game, poor black folks in North St. Louis City have not received these funds. It's not our local government's money. It's not City Hall's money. It's not all the people's money. It's not the mayor's money. It's the money belongs to the people. It was sent here by the federal government and instructed them to make sure it got into the right hands of the people in the Hood Census Tract, businesses, homeowners, people working 9 to 5. Everyone in this world was infected at some point or another with, and then give a portion of it to St. Louis Development Corporation to give to the small businesses, which they haven't gotten, and then allow them to spend so much money for consultants and what do they call it? I don't have the paper in front of me. Gosh, what is that? It's something that they earmarked $200,000 for this and $800,000 for that. So they've been chipping off of the money to fund St. Louis Development Corporation. From what I'm seeing, what it looks like to me. If I'm wrong, I stand to be corrected. But from where I'm sitting, it looks like to me they're using this emergency fund money to help finance the St. Louis Development Corporation and justify not giving the money to the people. And the sad part about it is a lot of people don't even know that the money exists. There was supposed to be money for home improvements, tuck pointing, new roofs, water heaters, furnaces, whatever you needed. You got to be mindful of this, folks. When this money was sent out, just hear me out. When the money was sent out, it was post-COVID, post-crisis. We were, and still are to a certain extent, in a crisis mode. The money was sent to help folks. Folks had been out of work for months. Folks had been confined to their homes, not able to leave. So they wanted to rebuild, and the federal government and president said, you know what, we got to stop trying to think that we can build from the top and let it trickle down. We got to build from the bottom up and let it trickle up. And that was, to me, was one of the last states that actually freed slaves during this era of slavery. That slave mentality, that tool that was used to shape and mold and control slaves still exists to a certain extent in the city of St. Louis today, in my opinion. Now, if I'm wrong, I stand to be corrected. And I tell folk all the time, correct me wherever I'm wrong. But I think that there is a level of fear from most folks about politicians and the elected officials because it has a historical record of corruption, a historical record of intimidation, a historical record of being threatening and what have you to folk. And okay, there was a notification I got there. But you know, I want to be open-minded about this. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm right, I'm right. But are we as a community, are we as a people afraid of elected officials? Are we afraid to question them? Are we afraid to ask them about the money that was sent here for us by the federal government? I thank God that more and more folks are now starting to sign that petition. I think that that's going to be one of the things that really opens this thing all the way up. Folks keep telling me talk about Carl Elliott. I thought that was quite disrespectful for Elliott Davis to run off with that package and that paperwork and still have not returned it to this day. But you know, hey, I'm just telling the truth. That's all I know. I ain't gonna lie on nobody. I ain't gonna stretch the truth or none of that. I shared that information. Then I started waiting on customers, and he took my paper. I told him he couldn't have it. I said, you can look at it, but I'll get you a copy or email it to you. But he hasn't even returned it. So Elliott has all the information, but his bosses won't even let him touch this. This thing is bigger than what you and I could ever imagine, and it's so wrong on so many levels that, in fact, why wouldn't they spend that money and send back for more to rebuild our communities, to rebuild our neighborhoods? That's what the president told him to do. And he told him he didn't give him enough. He knew it wasn't enough. But take this, get started, and make an assessment on how much you really need and send back for it. That's what the man said. If you don't believe me, take the time and go listen to it for yourself. March 11, 2001 State of the Union Address. You can pull it up on YouTube. I ain't making this stuff up, people. This is facts. This is truth that I'm speaking to you. And it's horrible and it's despicable, but it's the truth. And I think when you look at a neighborhood like North St. Louis City that has been neglected for so long, has been deprived so many years, and for them to get almost a blank check to help rebuild, and they don't do it, why? Why? Somebody help me understand this. I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I can't figure this one out. I don't drink a lot of coffee. I drink coffee sometimes, and today is one of those days I decided to drink some coffee. But again, this is just my take on things, and I strongly encourage folks all the time to correct me where I'm wrong. I do love correction.
I think I'm hearing revolution in the air. Tell me, brother, shout and sister. think I'm hearing revolution in the air. I think I'm hearing revolution in the air. Tell me, brother, talk to me, sister. I think I'm hearing revolution in the air. Tell me, brother, talk to me, sister.
It is time for us to use our power. Please do not beg folks for
Please do not beg nobody for power. You were born with it, people. You were born with power. Once again, very pleasant good morning. This is Prince Carter. I'm your host. This is Town Hall Community Radio. And we're going to be talking about a number of things this morning. I forgot. Let me see if I can get Zenobia. Hospital. It's more or less like an urgent care, I think. And they want them to change the name. And they're having a fundraiser this morning over on Park, and I'm going to see if I can raise this sister on the phone. And I told her I was going to be calling her.
Zenobia Thompson.
Okay, I didn't get her that time. I did, in fact, hope that she had answered. I was supposed to call her in the other hour, but nonetheless, we're going to continue to encourage folks to support the fundraiser this morning. It's at 3115 Park. I forget the name of the church. That's why I was trying to get in touch with Zenobia. But it's a fundraiser breakfast. You can have breakfast and support a good cause all at the same time. Homer G. Phillips was a for the uplift, the liberation, and the struggles of black people for probably well over 50 years, if not longer. He has been dedicated and committed, and what most folks don't understand or don't even know about this brother, and that is he's been fighting all these years and not getting paid for it. He does it because it needs to be done first and foremost, and he has a passion about the uplift and the liberation of his people. So I am honored to say that I know this brother. I'm honored to have worked with him in the past, and in fact, I would contribute some of my community activism as a result of him rubbing off on me. So I would like to introduce to some and present to others Brother Zaki Baruti. Good morning, my brother.
Good morning, Prince, and I'm very humbled to be on your program today, and I truly appreciate your community involvement, and let's all keep our eye on the prize, and that's the freedom and the liberation of us as a people, whereby we can share the fruits of our labor and have our children grow up in a wholesome environment.
Brother Zaki, you have been working on a project that is, in my opinion, very crucial to our people and our community at this time, as usual. But this situation with the Heritage House and some of our elders that have been displaced, and now, from what I'm hearing, is they're about to be displaced without a place to go. Kind of bring the community up.
There, they had been conducting free testing for COVID for a long period of time during late 2022, and then throughout the year, and then early spring, as I mentioned, Coffee asked that I began to work with some of the residents at the Heritage House located at 2800 Olive, because they had some serious complaints about the conditions of the building. Accordingly, I began working with them, and they were sharing with me some of the horrible conditions that were existing there, including that they had a pipe burst in late December of 2022, which flooded the lobby areas of the building and several floors, causing a lot of mold, and come to find out they had some asbestos. And then the upkeep of the building in of itself was really poor, because at one time the Heritage House was a classic site for that was built actually for retired teachers.
Brother Zaki, if I may interrupt here, for classification certification purposes, where is the Heritage House actually located, so people can have a general idea where the area we're talking about?
Yeah, I just mentioned at 2800 Olive Street was their location near downtown almost. Meetings, and as an organization, we were able to put in a format a number of the demands that the residents had about the need to transform the building from the poor maintenance that was occurring at that time. Because they were paying a nice little sum of money for rent for the for staying there. And some of the issues, like I had just included, was the prior flooding, poor maintenance. They had the elevators that went out during the summer. There was no air conditioning working for a couple of weeks, and they were yes. And
these are elderly people living under these conditions.
Absolutely. And at one point, they were looking at trying to have a press conference, but they canceled it. And then also security had went to pot, too. They had a series of a lot of break-ins on their cars. The elevators weren't functioning properly. So, like I say, it was a host of problems. At that time, when we were involved with them, it was the security, the management team was under what was called Century. And we put together a list of demands. Myself and one of the representatives went to their main office to present that. However, the residents, they changed management companies from Century to Sansone in September. My heat had went out. And I get a call pleading with me from my sister, Casella, that if I would contact the press to let them know that they, without heat there and flooding that was taking place in the facility, which, of course, I did do. I got up and sent out an emergency email to all the press contacts that I had. And to my pleasant surprise, the press did show up within the hour at the facility. Some of them came in, was able to do the filming of the floors been flooded, and the people are without heat. And then, of course, later on that day, they all had to be evacuated, leaving their apartments with only actually the clothes on their back.
Wow,
and
wow.
Yeah, that's literally, and we're talking about 160 plus people.
Elderly people.
Elderly, as well as many were disabled too, on walking, and some in wheelchairs, okay? So they, and this is from, now mind you, I mentioned the management team being both Century and Sansone. But we come to find out the owners of the building, which was the Heritage House Corporation, and Evans, and them were kind of had settled in, and they thought they projected, we're talking about January the 15th was the day that they were brought there. and it was projected, if my memory serves me right, that they were going to stay there to at least January the 29th. However, and they had access to the dining room. They were being provided lunch, dinner, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. However, that term there was short-lived. In fact, we were working with, at that time, the sister who was there, who was the manager for Sandstone. It was a sister that we had developed a relationship, and we were asking what were their needs as far as the people. And she shared with us that they were in need of non-perishable foods and healthy snacks, toiletries, water, and socks and gloves, that kind of thing. So our organization immediately, because, they would have to pay for those kind of items at the hotel. So our organization immediately was able to, on the second day, I believe, provide 100 cases of water for, the people at the hotel. And mind you, everybody of those 160 residents, about 60 of them actually went to family and friends, which they should have. However, instead of being able to stay there January 20 to January 29th, it was short-lived to about 4 or 5 days later. I don't know the exact date, that weekend, that they had to be moved again. And from the from the downtown Hilton, they was moved to the airport Hilton. Now, and was there for another a period of time, but their stay there, I understand, has been paid for by the Urban League. Okay, and then they also didn't have access to the dining room of the airport Hilton like they had downtown, and so we had to organize. There was a movement to organize different churches and organizations to provide food for them for, again, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then our organization, because I had that relationship with them, became even more tied into what trying to support them. And one evening we sponsored what we called the Evening of Giving, where we had different organizations bringing in food, bringing in other toiletries and all kinds of items to, help them there. However, let me just be very clear.
Okay.
The Heritage House had
the elderly people being displaced in a crisis.
Now, I'm going on public record on your show that is my perception, and at some point in time I can get you some guests from the actual. Have your guests who are some actual residents.
Yeah, I would love to talk to some of the residents and find out some of the things that they've been going to. I find what you're telling me thus far to be, totally unacceptable.
Yeah, I know. For me, and so accordingly, seeing the hurt that they were experiencing and the trauma, and not knowing, can you imagine being elderly, being uprooted, having and being, some of them had been living there over 10, 15, 20 years, and now you're totally displaced.
So what about all of their content that was in their apartments and their living quarters? Has that been secured? Is anybody responsible for that?
Yeah, well, see, that's they did hire a company just most recently. I forgot the name of the company, but they did hire a company to secure their properties. They're supposed to pack them up and what have you, but and that had some problems there too.
But if they're packing them up, where are they going?
I was just going to say that was wrought with problems also. where they were supposed folks have been able to get some housing, but it's been a problem that they had of their freight elevator going out. And it's just been a host of really heavy issues around securing the properties as well as getting them to the people who have been able to secure a little housing. So currently, right now, the projection was that they were going to take their properties to a storage center at some point in time. Mm-hmm. So that's still kind of being worked out as we're talking right now.
And the problem that I have with that, Brother Zaki, and I'm sensitive to our elders, and
right,
and it to me it's very dangerous when you remove them from their comfort zone, and then to have them trouble with knowing or not knowing the condition of their belongings, if their belongings are safe, if somebody taking their stuff, they don't have access to the things that they are accustomed. All of those things play a huge negative role on elderly as it relates to their health and unnecessary stress.
And your analysis is totally correct. A few of them have been hospitalized since.
It's the stress. It's the stress.
Yes. And then coupled with the fact again, not knowing how long their stay at the hotel will be, because, as I mentioned, they moved them from
one hotel to the next.
Wholeheartedly agreed to file a class action suit against the Heritage House Corporation, Evans and Son, and to that effect that after they were moved to 4 different spots, those spots included Cheshire Inn, Westin Hotel downtown St. Louis, Artgate Arts located on Grand Avenue, and apartments, the hotel called Elements. And so anyway, we were initially, the attorney was filing the 2 parts of the lawsuit. One was for compensatory damages caused by, years of neglect from what I'm going to characterize as slumlords, mm-hmm. as well as trying to get a temporary restraining order, because this last move where they are at, February 29th has been scheduled for the last day being the, which is coming up, next week or this coming week.
So where do they go from there?
If they have not found any housing, which, by the way, they did have a housing fair, but from the reports I hear from the residents attending the housing fair, a temporary restraining order to have the residents to be continually stayed there at the hotel for an additional 15 days. If that's granted to us, which we will know tomorrow or Tuesday, mm-hmm. of course, or some date before the 29th, if the judge, and it's a judge named White, Judge White, mm-hmm. Who is a white person, grants the temporary restraining order, then they have an additional 15 days. And based on that additional 15 days, the attorney would go back in to file for a permanent restraining order until they all have housing. Mm-hmm. However, if he does not, and that's going to speak to whether or not he's sensitive, because the attorney had as witnesses several of the residents who gave some really powerful statements about the conditions and what have you. And as well as, man, if you've been there, the plaintiffs, Heritage House Board, was brought to the stand by them, by the defense, representing the Heritage House. Man, you're under the questioning about the finances. the woman who posed as the president of the Heritage Board Directors, a person of color, got caught up in terms of not having the complete financials because it was in the hand. Yeah. Bottom line, but they, yes. I mean, I would have to agree, so.
And they should also pay for them to relocate whatever that requires.
Well, in the realm of us being humanists and caring for people, that's you're absolutely right. But the reality that we are facing is going to be made manifest, like I said, tomorrow or Tuesday, I believe, at the latest.
Do you have any knowledge or any know of some of the churches that have been trying to assist with this?
You know what I do, and let me compliment wherever churches and organizations that did come forward.
I would like to know who they are. I would like to know who they are.
I would have to try to get a list for you. Okay, I don't want to start naming the churches
and leave anybody out. Okay, so right. Between now and next week, I'm gonna look to be able to report on some of those churches that have been aiding and assisting. And my heart is just and let me say this to you, my brother.
Before you just say that, but right off, let me salute Miss Ollie Stewart of the Southside Wellness Corporation. That I know you just named an icon in our community. Right. I want to salute her while they were at the airport Hilton. Provided a hot and free breakfast for the residents in the dining room of the hotel. I want to salute our members that supported that effort. Mm-hmm. So, we've been there with them throughout the whole process. But again, there were a number, and I'll try to get that list for you so you can, it was a number of other organizations that were very supportive. And but again, to me, the whole community, now I ain't going to go there. So, yes. So anyway, what was it?
Okay, what I want to, because I know you got to run, Brother Zaki, but before you do, let me say this: if at all possible, I would like to get an update next weekend, so that the people can know what's going on and what needs to be done and where we're lacking in anywhere. But what I want to say to you is publicly. I've said it privately, but I'm gonna say it publicly. I wish to commend you and your labor as it relates to our people in our community and the constant standing out on the battlefields, fighting for injustices and wrongs on the people in the community. You have an undisputed track record, in my opinion, of doing that and not getting paid for it, I might add. And you do it so well, and without you, a lot of these things would not have taken place, and without you, we wouldn't be aware of some of the conditions and things that are going on. So I want to commend you for your labor and your wisdom, and I pray that God continues to bless you with health, strength, and wisdom so that you continue to fight the fight. And you just keep on, going, and I commend you for that, my brother, and I thank God for you.
Thank you. And I always give praise to God for giving me that energy and strength, too. So thank you again, Brother Prince. I have the greatest respect for you.
Likewise, my brother.
May God continue to bless you, my brother.
Thank you so much. That's Brother Zaki Baruti. He's on the front line again, folks. And I just want to take this opportunity to thank him for coming in. There you have it. This is what's going on in today's world. Our seniors are being displaced, and thank God for Brother Zaki and others that are working to assist those elderly people. A lot of folk don't understand when people become aged, for lack of better words, they get in their comfort zone, and they don't want to leave their a house. They don't want to leave their apartment. Their comfort zone. It's their comfort zone, and it has their blanket, their pillow over here, and their coffee mug, or whatever it is that they cling to there in their space. And when they're displaced at that age, it has a grave impact on their health as well as their mental state. And I'm praying for those elderly people that have been displaced in this tragic situation. And I pray that God continues to bless them and that their stay is extended. My best to, in fact, figure out some of the things that need to be figured out. Again, that's something for all of us to do, people. There's a void in our community for folks to get involved and get engaged to bring about overdue and needed change for our people in our community. And I challenge each and every one out there in the rims of my listening voice to find what you can do to make a difference. Find what you can do to aid and assist our community in becoming a better community and a better place to live. That's something we all can do. And I encourage folks to do that. All right? So listen, I'm going to wrap it up today and get ready to get on out of here. This is Prince Carter. This is Town Hall Community Radio. We love you.
We have a government, sir, that needs to be opened up before the American people.
White folk rule us with fear. It is not white people, it's your fear of them that you gotta be freed from.
I think I'm hearing revolution in the air.